You've got a toothbrush sitting in your bathroom right now. Probably toothpaste next to it, maybe mouthwash, maybe floss you feel guilty about not using enough. Twice a day, without really thinking about it, you scrub bacteria off your teeth using tools designed by scientists, sold by companies, backed by decades of dental research. Now picture a human being 30,000 years ago. No dentist, no toothpaste, no mirror, even. Just teeth, for their entire life, with nothing modern standing between those teeth and whatever they ate. So here's the question. Did they just let their mouths rot? Did ancient humans lose all their teeth by 25 and consider that normal? Or did they, somehow, with none of our tools, figure out ways to take care of their teeth that actually worked? That's what we're figuring out today. And the real answer is a lot more resourceful than you'd expect. Let's define this properly first, because brushing your teeth is a very specific, very modern image. Nylon bristles, a plastic handle, a tube of mint-flavored paste. If we only count that exact combination, then no, ancient humans obviously didn't brush their teeth. But strip it down to its bare core, and brushing is really just this. Deliberately using a tool or technique to physically remove material from your teeth. That's it. It doesn't require bristles. It doesn't require paste. It just requires the intent to clean. And once you define it that way, the question becomes a lot more interesting, because the archaeological record says ancient humans were doing exactly that, just with completely different tools, and for a surprisingly long time. The earliest known dental cleaning tool isn't a brush at all. It's a stick. Archaeologists have found what are called chew sticks across ancient sites in Mesopotamia, Egypt, India, and China, some dating back over 5,000 years. The method was simple and surprisingly effective. You'd take a thin twig, often from a tree with naturally antibacterial or aromatic properties. Chew one end until it frayed into soft bristle-like fibers, and use that frayed end to scrub your teeth and gums. The other end was sometimes sharpened into a point and used as a pick to get material out from between teeth. This wasn't a one-off invention. It shows up independently in cultures with no contact with each other, which is usually a strong sign of a genuinely useful, convergent solution rather than a coincidence. Versions of the chew stick are still used today in parts of Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia. The miswak, made from the Salvadora persica tree, is still sold commercially and has actually been studied by modern researchers, who found it contains natural antibacterial compounds that genuinely help reduce plaque. In other words, people were inventing a real, working toothbrush, twig, bristles, and all, thousands of years before anyone thought to patent one. If ancient humans had toothbrush equivalents, did they have toothpaste too? Also yes, and some of the recipes are genuinely surprising. The ancient Egyptians left us what's considered the oldest known toothpaste recipe, inscribed on papyrus roughly 2,000 years old. It called for a mixture of crushed rock salt, mint, dried iris flower, and grains of pepper, ground into a paste and used with a chew stick or finger. Researchers who reconstructed the recipe in modern times reported it actually worked reasonably well, abrasive enough to clean and unpleasant enough from the pepper that it likely also stimulated saliva production, which helps protect teeth naturally. The ancient Greeks and Romans took a very different, considerably less pleasant approach. Roman sources described using crushed bones, oyster shells, and, this is the part that surprises everyone, human urine as a mouth rinse. It sounds bizarre until you consider the chemistry. Urine contains ammonia, which is genuinely effective at breaking down bacteria and whitening teeth. It was popular enough in some Roman circles that a specific tax existed on urine collection for exactly this purpose. Uncomfortable, but not unscientific. Ancient China developed its own approach around 1,600 years ago, with early formulas including ginseng, herbal mint, and salt, closer, ingredient-wise, to what you'd actually recognize on a modern toothpaste label. So the honest answer isn't just yes, they cleaned their teeth. It's yes, and they were running actual chemistry experiments to figure out what worked, centuries before anyone understood what bacteria even were. This is where it gets genuinely fascinating, because dental care apparently goes back a lot further than any written recipe. Archaeologists studying Neanderthal remains have found grooves worn into fossilized teeth, consistent with using small tools, likely thin sticks or grass stems, to clean between teeth, similar in function to modern flossing. Some of these findings date back over 130,000 years, predating Homo sapiens' dominance entirely. This means our evolutionary cousins, not just our direct ancestors, were already engaging in some form of deliberate dental hygiene. There's also striking evidence from far earlier hominins. Researchers examining fossilized teeth from Australopithecus and early Homo species, some dating back over 1.8 million years, have found similar toothpick-style grooves, suggesting that some form of intentional dental cleaning may be one of the oldest continuously practiced human behaviors we have direct physical evidence for. Older than fire use in some estimates. Older than clothing. Possibly older than complex language. Which flips the entire premise of the video. The question was never really, did ancient humans figure out dental care? The real answer is that dental care, in some basic form, may be one of the oldest deliberate behaviors in the entire human lineage, something our ancestors were doing before they were even fully human. If ancient humans were this resourceful, why does the popular image of ancient persons so often include a mouth full of missing, blackened teeth? Partly it's Hollywood. Cave people in movies are almost always drawn with terrible teeth as a visual shorthand for primitive. But the real archaeological picture is more nuanced and honestly more interesting. Dental researchers who study ancient skeletal remains have found something that seems backward at first. Many hunter-gatherer populations, before the invention of agriculture, actually had remarkably good teeth, significantly fewer cavities than populations that came after farming became widespread. The reason comes down to diet. Hunter-gatherer diets were generally low in the kind of concentrated sugars and starches that feed cavity-causing bacteria. Once humans started farming grain-heavy, carbohydrate-dense diets around 10,000 years ago, the archaeological record shows a genuine spike in tooth decay across multiple ancient civilizations, visible directly in the skeletal record, worse in farming societies than in the hunter-gatherer societies that came before them. So in a strange twist, some ancient humans, tens of thousands of years before toothpaste existed in any form, may have had healthier mouths on average than people did after civilization advanced. The chew sticks and mineral pastes weren't compensating for a naturally bad situation. They were refinements added on top of diets that, dentally speaking, were already working in their favor. So bring this back to your bathroom. The toothbrush. The mint paste you don't think twice about. You're not doing something that started with a corporation or a dentist's office. You're the latest version of a behavior that traces back through Roman urine rinses and Egyptian pepper paste, through 5,000-year-old chew sticks used independently across 4 different ancient civilizations, all the way back through Neanderthal tooth grooves 130,000 years old, and possibly further still, to hominins cleaning their teeth with sticks nearly 2 million years ago, long before anyone alive today's species even existed. Dental hygiene isn't a mark of modern civilization. If anything, it's one of the oldest, most consistently practiced human habits we have physical proof of, refined constantly, tool by tool, recipe by recipe, by people with none of your advantages who were somehow determined to figure it out anyway. So the next time you're brushing your teeth on autopilot, half asleep, barely thinking about it, know that you're participating in one of the oldest continuously running projects in human history. A twig, a paste, a pick, a rinse, however unpleasant. Different tools, same instinct, going back further than fire, further than clothing, further than almost anything else we consider distinctly human. Some things are ancient. Some things are just human. This is one of them. If you want more of these, the strange, hidden histories of the things we never question, hit subscribe, because there's a lot more where this came from.